You know that feeling, don't you? Your heart starts pounding. Your palms get sweaty. You're in a room full of new people, a party, a networking event, maybe even just a new class, and it feels like every single eye is on you. You suddenly forget how to stand, what to do with your hands. And your mind? It's just screaming one thing: escape. This isn't just being shy. This is social anxiety. And the fear of meeting strangers, the fear of being judged, is one of the most common and crippling parts of it. You might feel like you're the only one, like everyone else is effortlessly charming and confident. But I promise you, you are not alone. Millions of people feel this way. The good news? Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's a skill you build. And today, we're not just going to talk about facing your fears. We're going to break down the practical, actionable steps you can take to feel genuinely more confident, starting before you even walk into the room. Part 1. The battlefield isn't the room. It's your mind. The biggest mistake we make is thinking the problem starts when we meet someone. The problem actually starts hours or even days before. It starts in our heads. We engage in what psychologists call catastrophic thinking. We play out the entire interaction, and in our version, it's always a disaster. I'm going to say something stupid. They'll think I'm boring. I'll spill my drink. Social anxiety is fueled by the fear of judgment. There's a powerful psychological bias called the spotlight effect. We feel like a giant spotlight is following us, highlighting our every flaw. But here's the truth: people are not paying nearly as much attention to you as you think they are. They are too busy worrying about the spotlight they think is on them. So, the first step is cognitive reframing. You have to challenge these automatic negative thoughts. When your brain says, "Everyone will think I'm awkward," you must intercept it. Ask yourself, is that 100% true? Have I ever had a conversation that didn't end in total disaster? You don't have to force positive thinking. Just aim for neutral or realistic thinking. Instead of, "I'm going to be a star," try, "I am going to meet some new people. I might feel a little anxious, and that's okay. I am just there to listen and maybe have one or two simple conversations." This lowers the stakes immediately. You're not performing. You're just existing. Part 2. The pregame routine. Before you go, confident people aren't just winging it. They often have a routine. You need one too. First, set a manageable goal. Don't tell yourself, "I have to meet 20 people." That's terrifying. Set a small, achievable goal. For example, my goal tonight is to learn one interesting fact about 3 different people. This changes your mission. You're no longer there to be impressive. You're there on a fact-finding mission. It makes you a detective, not a performer. Second, prepare conversation openers. This isn't about having a boring script. It's about having a toolkit so your mind doesn't go blank. Forget, "Hi, how are you?" It leads nowhere. Think of open-ended questions. If you're at an event, try, "How do you know the host?" or "What brought you to this event tonight?" If it's a more general setting, "Hi, I'm your name. I'm new here. What's good to know about this place?" Or even just a simple observation. "This music is great. Do you know who the artist is?" Having 2 or 3 of these in your back pocket removes the fear of that first blank stare. Third, physical preparation. Your mind and body are connected. If your body acts confident, your mind will start to believe it. Before you leave the house, or in the car, or in the bathroom, do a power pose. Stand tall, put your hands on your hips, pull your shoulders back, and lift your chin. Hold it for 1 minute. Research by social psychologist Amy Cuddy shows this can actually increase feelings of confidence and decrease stress hormones. Also, breathe. When we get anxious, we take shallow chest breaths. Force yourself to take 3 deep, slow belly breaths. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, and exhale slowly for 8. This signals to your nervous system that you are safe. Part 3. The toolkit. During the interaction. Okay, you're in the room. You're breathing. You have your small goal. Now what? This is the most important technique of all. Shift your focus. Social anxiety is an internal disease. We spend 99% of the conversation monitoring ourselves. How do I look? Was that a weird laugh? What do I say next? You cannot be self-conscious and genuinely engaged at the same time. You have to pick one. Choose to be curious about the other person. Turn your mental spotlight from yourself onto them. The goal is to make them feel interesting. How? By being an active listener. Most people are just waiting for their turn to talk. Be the person who truly listens. When they say they're from Chicago, don't just say, "Oh, cool." Ask an open-ended follow-up question. Chicago. I've always wanted to visit. What's one thing a tourist never sees, but absolutely should? People love to talk about themselves and their passions. Your only job is to be curious and find out what those are. Use questions that start with who, what, why, and how. Next, your body language. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You just have to look open. Keep your arms uncrossed. Point your feet towards the person you're talking to. And smile. A simple, genuine smile is the most powerful social tool on earth. It signals I am friendly and safe. What about eye contact? This is a tough one for anxious people. Here's a trick, the 50-70 rule. Try to maintain eye contact 50% of the time while you are speaking and 70% of the time while they are speaking. This shows you're engaged, but doesn't feel like an aggressive staring contest. Finally, what if you do say something awkward? You will. Everyone does. Confident people just handle it differently. They don't spiral. If you fumble your words or spill a drink, just acknowledge it lightly and move on. Wow, I guess my brain is moving faster than my mouth today. Or, well, that was clumsy. Anyway, as I was saying, by not making it a big deal, you give the other person permission to not make it a big deal. The moment passes. The spotlight you feared? It just moved on. Part 4, the after action, building momentum. After the event, your anxiety might try to give you a social hangover. It will replay every mistake. Do not let it. Instead, do a win review. On your way home, intentionally focus on what went right. I felt nervous, but I stayed for 30 minutes. That's a win. I used an opener and I learned that Sarah is a graphic designer. That's a win. I smiled at someone and they smiled back. Win. Confidence is built brick by brick. And these small wins are the bricks. Meeting strangers is a skill, like learning guitar. Your first few times, you will be clumsy. You will hit the wrong notes. But you don't quit guitar. You practice. Start small. Make eye contact with the barista and say thank you. Ask the grocery clerk how their day is going. These are low-stakes practice sessions. Every time you act in spite of your fear, you are rewiring your brain. You are teaching it, see? That wasn't a threat. We survived. We even enjoyed it. So, to recap, reframe your mind. Challenge those negative thoughts. You are not the center of everyone's judgment. Run your pregame, set small goals, have openers ready, and use power poses and breathing to calm your body. Shift your focus. Be the detective, not the performer. Get curious about them. Practice and review. Start small and celebrate every single win, no matter how tiny. You have interesting things to say. You are a person worth knowing. Don't let social anxiety rob the world of you, and don't let it rob you of the world. You've got this.